Good morning. My name is Chris Magnus, and I am the Tucson Police Chief. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this morning. We invited you to this press conference to give you some information on a major indictment that was handed down by the Pima County Grand Jury yesterday. So first, I'm going to give you a little background. On April 21st, 2012, at 8:13 a.m., 6-year-old Isabel Mercedes Celis was reported missing from her home in the 5600 block of East 12th Street in Tucson. Officers and detectives from the Tucson Police Department's Crimes Against Person Division responded that morning and remained at the scene for multiple days investigating her disappearance. Although she was not located, the case remained open and the investigation continued over the next several years with the assistance of federal, state, and local law enforcement partners. The Tucson Police Department received several thousand tips and leads over the course of the investigation. On June 3rd, 2014, 13-year-old Maribel Gonzalez left her residence near Broadway Boulevard and Wilmot Road and never returned home. 3 days later, her body was recovered in a desert area near North Trico Road and West Avra Valley Road. The Pima County Sheriff's Department investigated that incident, and the manner of death was determined to be a homicide. Maribel's case remained open while the investigators tried to determine who was responsible for her murder. In early 2017, local FBI agents were contacted about an individual by the name of Christopher Clements. They were advised that Clements possibly had information relating to the disappearance of Isabel Celis. The FBI immediately contacted the Tucson Police Department and assisted with the follow-up of that information. On March 3rd, 2017, after speaking with Clements, Tucson police investigators and FBI agents located human remains in the area of North Trico Road and West Avra Valley Road, which is the same general area where Maribel Gonzalez was located in 2014. The Tucson Police Homicide Unit was then assigned to recover the remains and to continue the investigation. Those remains were tested and positively identified as Isabel Celis. The manner of death was determined to be a homicide. The Tucson Police Department reviewed the original investigative casework and conducted interviews throughout the state of Arizona and across the country. After learning Isabel and Maribel were located in close proximity to one another, the Tucson Police Homicide Unit and Pima County Sheriff's Homicide Unit began working together on the two cases. Detectives were able to obtain additional information about both homicides and recover additional pieces of evidence during this joint investigation. The new evidence and information, in conjunction with the details and evidence from the initial investigation, was presented to the Pima County Attorney's Office and then to the Pima County Grand Jury. On Friday, September 14th, 36-year-old Christopher Matthew Clements was indicted on multiple felony charges to include the murders of Isabel Mercedes Celis and Maribel Victoria Gonzalez. Clements was served the indictment at the Maricopa County Jail, where he is being held in conjunction with unrelated matters. The charges against Clements will be adjudicated in due course. He is presumed innocent of all charges unless and until proven guilty. This investigation has been an incredible and successful partnership among the Tucson Police Department, Pima County Sheriff's Department, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, Phoenix Police Department, Pima County Attorney's Office, Maricopa County Attorney's Office, the Border Patrol Search, Trauma, and Rescue Unit, and the Pima County Office of the Medical Examiner. But as Tucson Police Chief, I really need to extend my special appreciation to the TPD's homicide unit and our cold case detectives. Their tireless work has made it possible to achieve this indictment. So in keeping with the ethical rules about the pending cases, there will be statements made this morning, but no questions taken at this time. And so to explain more about the process of the indictment, it's my pleasure to introduce Pima County Attorney Barbara Lawal.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everybody. You know, a child's disappearance will always raise an alarm in a community, and 2 children missing is a cause for a multi-alarm designation. And I'm really pleased to be able to say that Pima County prosecutors and all of law enforcement never gave up the hunt for the killer of these 2 little girls. The cases went unsolved, but they were never closed. The Tucson Police Department, the Pima County Sheriff's Department, along with prosecutors in my office and others, collaborated very closely. They worked relentlessly, and they put the pieces of the puzzle together. And it is the dogged persistence of the entire law enforcement community and all of the investigative teams and their passion to solve the mystery that finally led to the answer to the question, who took these little girls? Because this is an open pending case, as the chief just said, we will not be sharing details of the investigation with you. However, the indictment is a public record, and copies of the indictment will be distributed at the conclusion of this press conference. But I am going to cover those charges briefly. And I'm going to repeat what was just said, that it's important to state that charges in an indictment are accusations. They're based upon a finding of probable cause at the grand jury, and an accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty. And as you heard yesterday, the Pima County grand jury indicted Christopher Matthew Clements on 22 separate felony charges. They indicted him on 2 counts of first-degree murder, which are Class 1 felonies. And I'm also going to inform you about the range of sentencing on each of these charges. Murder in the first degree with victims who are minors under the age of 15 carries a potential sentence of 35 years to natural life. 1 count of first-degree murder is for the murder of Isabel Celis, and the 2nd count is for the murder of Maribel Gonzalez. Clements was also indicted on 2 counts of kidnapping of a minor under the age of 15. Those are Class 2 felonies, 1 count for the kidnapping of Isabel Celis, the other for the kidnapping of Maribel Gonzalez, and these are also dangerous crimes against children, and they carry a sentencing range of 10 as a mitigated, 17 presumptive to 24 max. Christopher Clements was also charged with 1 count of second-degree burglary of a residential structure, a Class 3 felony, and that was for the unlawful entry into the Celis home for the purpose of kidnapping Isabel Celis. The second-degree burglary carries a sentence range of 2 to 8.75 years. The grand jury also indicted Clements with 14 separate counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Those are each Class 2 felonies. Each of those 14 counts in the indictment allege the following. They allege that Christopher Clements knowingly distributed, transported, exhibited, received, sold, purchased, electronically transmitted, possessed, or exchanged visual depictions in which minors are engaged in exploitive exhibition or other sexual conduct. Those are dangerous crimes against children. Those carry a sentencing range on each count of 10, 17 to 24. There's an additional Class 3 second-degree burglary count for the unlawful entry into a separate victim's residence in which jewelry and gold coins were stolen. That too is a Class 3 felony and carries the same range as the other burglary second degree of 2 to 8.75. The theft of the gold coins and the subsequent pawning of this victim's property are included in 2 other counts in the indictment, a Class 2 theft by controlling stolen property and a Class 2 trafficking in stolen property. Those Class 2 felonies carry a sentence of 3 to 12.5. Those are potential sentencing ranges. We're looking forward to submitting the evidence that will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Christopher Clements is guilty of the offenses for which he is charged. I've assigned 3 very experienced deputy county attorneys to prosecute this case. Chief Trial Counsel Jonathan Mosier, who's going to talk to you in a moment about the next steps in the process. Narcotics Bureau Chief Chris Ward, who's at the back of the room, and Special Victims Unit Prosecutor Tracy Miller, who is at a conference right now. The heart-wrenching tragedies of Maribel Gonzalez and Isabel Celis' murders have been compounded by a very long, long wait for justice. Christopher Clements was actually at liberty for the murder of Isabel Celis for a bit longer than she was alive. His apprehension was long overdue. We extend our deep gratitude to law enforcement for sticking with these cases, for their unending efforts over the years to solve these very cold, callous, and brutal murders. And to the families of Isabel and Maribel, our hearts go out to you for the tragic loss that you've suffered, for the long time that you've waited for a resolution. You need to know that we have met with the families and they are aware of the indictment of Chris Clements. It's now time to move forward, to bring closure to the anguish to these families and to our community, which suffered for the past 6 years with the missing girls. It's time for all of us, the victim's family, and for our community to be able to heal. It's long overdue. I introduce you now to Sheriff Mark Napier.
Good morning. I've been a law enforcement officer for more than 3 decades, and I cannot think of many mornings that I woke up more proud to be a member of this profession than I am this morning. The extraordinary, complex cooperation between local resources, county resources, state resources, and even federal resources to bring this case to justice is truly extraordinary. And it makes me feel so very proud to be part of a profession that when these tragic events occur, can break down walls, break down barriers, and cooperate and to the highest level of professionalism. And I could not be any more proud of the work of all those people involved to bring this case to justice. There could be no more tragic victim than a child. Could be no more serious investigation than that of the homicide of a child. And today we celebrate extraordinary law enforcement work by so many people. The chief mentioned their cooperation with our federal partners, the FBI, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, Phoenix Police Department, Detroit Police Department, the Portland Police Department, and Homicide Unit. But I have to acknowledge some extraordinary work by my detectives, particularly Detective Miguel Flores, who's an 18-year veteran of our Homicide Unit, who has spent literally hundreds of hours doggedly pursuing this investigation. Other key investigative personnel from my department are Sergeant Luis Cornides, Public Safety Support Specialist Dave Sedlak, Detective Chris Hogan, Lieutenant Scott Loeing, and Captain Jesus Lopez. I'm so very proud of these people who never gave up Even though this investigation seemed to kind of grow cold, grow old, they never gave up. They doggedly pursued this to bring justice to this family and closure to this case. It is in the highest standards of law enforcement that we operated together. The cooperation with the Tucson Police Department has been stellar. I could not ask for a better regional partner than I have in Chief Magnus and the Tucson Police Department, the Phoenix Police Department, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And we could not ask for a better partner in the prosecutorial side of this than we have in our County Attorney, Barbara Lawal, and her staff. Again, I woke up this morning with a big smile on my face, but a tragic smile at the same time. I woke up very proud to be a part of this community, but at the same time very sad that we'd all meet under these circumstances. But we have shown the best of our profession in the way that we pursued this investigation, and I'm so very proud that we were able to bring this case to justice. Very complex investigation involving a lot of investigative entities and literally hundreds, if not thousands of hours of investigative pursuit by some very loyal, dedicated, and professional law enforcement personnel. Again, I'm so pleased to be here and part of this community that can work together and bring this case to justice. With that, I'd like to introduce Pima County Attorney, Chief Trial Counsel, Jonathan Mosier, to make some comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. My name is Jonathan Mosier. I'm the Chief Trial Counsel at the Pima County Attorney's Office, and I'm honored on behalf of Barbara Lawal to present this important case at trial alongside my co-counsel, Tracy Miller and Chris Ward. Following the indictment yesterday for first-degree murder of Isabel Celis and Maribel Gonzalez, along with a multitude of other counts involving kidnapping, burglary, and sexual exploitation of minors, the Pima County Superior Court issued a warrant for the arrest of Christopher Clements. That arrest warrant was served late yesterday afternoon in person by TPD detectives Josh Cheek and Jeff Lockwood. Clements is currently in custody facing other unrelated charges, but these detectives read Chris Clements' indictment and current charges in our case to him yesterday. He will now be held in custody for the murders of Isabel Celis and Maribel Gonzalez. Christopher Clements' terms of being in custody are $2 million cash-only bond, and he was advised of this at his initial appearance, which occurred this morning. An arraignment date has been set. At that arraignment, he'll get counsel. A judge, a court will be assigned to hear the trial of this matter, and that arraignment will occur on September 24th at 1:30 in the Pima County Superior Courthouse. As you've heard this morning, the murders of Isabel Celis and Maribel Gonzalez could not have been solved without a massive coordination among a variety of police, law enforcement agencies, and I won't repeat them all, but I do want to expressly thank Detectives Josh Cheek, Jeffrey Lockwood, their Sergeant Marco Borboa, their Lieutenant John Carlson. The commitment to these important cases has truly been extraordinary. These individuals have shown dedication and commitment beyond what I can fathom to find the person who killed Isabel Celis. And likewise, at the Pima County Sheriff's Department, Detective Miguel Flores, along with his sergeants, Luis Cornidez and Jill Isley, and Lieutenant Scott Lowing, have showed extraordinary commitment to justice for the killer of Maribel Gonzalez. I want to thank each and every one of these agencies and these officers for their hard work, their professionalism, their commitment to solving these crimes. Without their work, Maribel and Isabel's families would still be suffering, not knowing what happened to their children. As Barbara Lawal mentioned, it is very important for Christopher Clements to receive a fair trial. That will happen in Pima County Superior Court. And for that reason, we will not discuss this case with the public or the media except in the very limited ways permitted by law until the jury renders their verdict. Thank you.
So you can see there's a lot of pride among the folks here this morning in the work that's been done. And there's still much work to be done. But we want to thank you for being here. Although we're only able to provide limited details about the case today, additional information obviously will become available as the case proceeds through the judicial process. Now, we understand that there are people who may want to provide tips or additional information about these cases. This can be done by calling a phone number, which I'll give to you right now. That phone number is 520-837-7588. Once again, this is a tip line for information related to this case, and it is 520-837-7588. I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning, and we appreciate all the help that the public has provided us.
Chief, I don't think this will break your legal requirements, but just what's that moment like when you get a call and go, you've got enough?
Yeah.
You do the arrest.
So I think we've all agreed as a group here that we're not going to take questions this morning.
Chief, if
But
the
we
indictment is public, though, Chief, why can't you just give us a general narrative of what happened, to these two young girls?
I think we've done our best to provide you the information that we're really allowed to do without compromising the case.
Just not
And
even-
so
not
we
even any specifics about
appreciate
what
you
happened.
showing up this morning, and I think we're done for now. Thank